Most schools say they support inclusion, but are they truly prepared? Most schools proudly state that they support inclusion. It appears in mission statements, educational policies, and promotional materials. Inclusion has become a widely accepted value in modern education. But behind the reassuring language and good intentions lies a critical question. Are schools truly prepared to support inclusion in a meaningful and effective way? Inclusion is not simply placing a child with autism, spectrum disorder, ASD, or other developmental differences into a general education classroom. Physical presence alone does not equal belonging. True inclusion requires preparation, training, structure, and a deep understanding of diverse learning needs. Many schools believe they are inclusive because they do not deny enrollment to children with disabilities. However, accepting a student is only the first step. The real challenge begins once that child enters the classroom. Are teachers trained to understand sensory sensitivities? Do they recognize the signs of emotional overload? Are they equipped with strategies to support communication differences? Without these essential tools, inclusion can unintentionally become overwhelming for both students and educators. Preparation starts with knowledge. Teachers need ongoing professional development that goes beyond basic awareness. Understanding autism, neurodiversity, and differentiated instruction empowers educators to respond with confidence rather than uncertainty. When teachers feel prepared, they create calmer, more supportive environments where all students can thrive. Beyond training, schools must also consider the physical and emotional environment. Classrooms can be noisy, visually stimulating, and unpredictable. For some students, especially those with ASD, this can lead to anxiety and sensory overload. Simple adjustments, such as visual schedules, quiet corners, structured routines, and clear instructions, can make a significant difference. These are not expensive reforms. They are intentional choices. Another crucial element is school culture. Inclusion must extend beyond academics into social experiences. Are peers taught about diversity and empathy? Do classrooms promote understanding of differences? A child who feels isolated during group activities or recess is not truly included. Social belonging is just as important as academic participation.
What if I told you that inclusion is not about placing a child with autism spectrum disorder inside a classroom, but about transforming that classroom into a space where that child truly belongs? What if the difference between isolation and growth was not the child's diagnosis, but the school's preparation? Today, we are going to talk about real inclusion, not theory, not empty words, but practical, meaningful, life-changing inclusion for children with ASD. And before we begin, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss content that supports families, educators, and autistic children around the world. Now, let's begin understanding what inclusion really means. Inclusion is often misunderstood. Many people believe that inclusion simply means placing a child with ASD in a regular classroom. But true inclusion goes far beyond physical presence. Inclusion means participation. Inclusion means belonging. Inclusion means being seen, heard, respected, and supported. A child with autism spectrum disorder does not need to be fixed to fit into school. The school must be prepared to adapt, to understand, and to embrace neurodiversity. Autism is a spectrum. Some children may have strong verbal skills, but struggle socially. Others may need support with communication, sensory regulation, or emotional expression. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. That is why effective inclusion requires planning, training, and empathy.
The emotional impact of school inclusion. For many families, the first day of school is filled with anxiety. Will my child be accepted? Will teachers understand? Will other children be kind? Will my child feel safe? Inclusion is not just an educational matter. It is emotional. It is social. It is psychological. When inclusion is done correctly, self-esteem increases. Social skills develop naturally. Communication improves. Independence grows. Anxiety decreases. But when inclusion is superficial or unprepared, the opposite can happen. That is why schools must move from intention to action. Preparing the school environment. Effective inclusion begins before the child even enters the classroom. 1. Teacher training. Teachers need training in understanding autism characteristics, recognizing sensory sensitivities, managing meltdowns with calm strategies, supporting communication differences, encouraging peer interaction. Knowledge reduces fear. Training increases confidence. When teachers feel prepared, they respond with patience instead of frustration. 2. Sensory-friendly classrooms. Many children with ASD experience sensory differences. Lights may feel too bright. Sounds may feel overwhelming. Textures may be uncomfortable. Simple adaptations can make a huge difference. Soft lighting when possible. Visual schedules on the wall. Quiet corner or calm down space. Noise-reducing headphones available. Predictable daily routines. These small adjustments create emotional safety, and emotional safety is the foundation of learning. 3. Individualized support plans. Every autistic child is unique. Effective inclusion requires an individualized plan that may include adapted instructions, visual aids, extra processing time, alternative communication tools, clear step-by-step guidance. Inclusion does not mean lowering expectations. It means adjusting the path so the child can reach those expectations. Social inclusion, the heart of belonging. Academic inclusion is important, but social inclusion is transformative. Children learn social skills through interaction, but they need guidance. Teachers can organize structured group activities, pair the child with empathetic peers, teach classmates about diversity and acceptance, encourage cooperative learning. When classmates understand differences, fear turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into empathy. Schools that openly discuss neurodiversity create inclusive cultures. The role of peers. Children are naturally capable of empathy when guided. A classroom culture that values kindness can change everything. Teachers can explain, some people's brains work differently. And different does not mean less, it just means unique. When peers understand that, a child may avoid eye contact. A child may flap hands when excited. A child may need quiet time. They begin to accept these behaviors instead of judging them. Inclusion becomes natural, managing challenges with compassion. Inclusion does not mean challenges disappear. There may be emotional overload, meltdowns, communication misunderstandings, difficulty with transitions. The key is response. Punishment does not teach regulation. Calm modeling does. Instead of saying, "Oh, stop that," we can say, "I see you're overwhelmed. Let's take a break." Instead of isolation, offer support. Behavior is communication. When we understand that, inclusion becomes possible. Family and school partnership. True inclusion happens when families and schools work together. Parents know their child deeply. Teachers understand classroom dynamics. Regular communication is essential. Progress updates, shared strategies, honest conversations, collaborative problem solving. When parents feel heard and respected, trust grows, and trust strengthens inclusion. Academic strategies that work. Here are practical classroom strategies that promote inclusion. Use visual schedules. Break tasks into small steps. Provide clear, literal instructions. Use interests as motivation. Offer choices when possible. Allow movement breaks. Use positive reinforcement. Consistency builds security. Security builds confidence. Confidence builds learning, building independence. Inclusion is not about constant assistance. It is about gradually increasing independence. Encourage self-advocacy, asking for help, recognizing emotions, using coping strategies, participating in decisions. Children with ASD can thrive when supported appropriately. They are capable. They are intelligent. They are creative. They are valuable. Long-term impact of effective inclusion. When inclusion is effective in early years, the long-term impact is powerful. Better academic outcomes, stronger social skills, greater emotional regulation, increased confidence, reduced stigma, stronger community awareness. Inclusive schools build inclusive societies, and inclusive societies create opportunities for everyone, moving from theory to practice. It is easy to say we support inclusion, but real inclusion requires ongoing teacher training, school-wide policies, accessible infrastructure, leadership commitment, emotional intelligence. Inclusion is not a project. It is a mindset, a message to educators. If you are a teacher watching this, you matter. Your patience matters. Your tone matters. Your understanding matters. One supportive teacher can change the trajectory of a child's life. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be willing to learn. A message to parents. If you are a parent, one supportive teacher can change the trajectory of a child's life. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be willing to learn. A message to parents. If you are a parent, advocate, ask questions, build partnerships, trust your instincts. Your child deserves not only access to school, but belonging within it. A message to schools. Inclusion is not charity. It is justice. It is respect. It is recognizing that diversity strengthens the learning environment. Every child deserves dignity. Every child deserves opportunity. Every child deserves inclusion. Final reflection. Inclusion is not about changing the autistic child. It is about expanding the world to include them fully. When we design schools that accommodate differences, we create environments where every student benefits, not just those with ASD. Because flexible teaching helps all learners. Because empathy helps all relationships. Because acceptance builds stronger communities. Inclusion is not extra work. It is meaningful work. It is transformative work. It is necessary work. Final call to action. If you believe every child deserves real inclusion, if you want schools to move from words to action, if you care about children with autism spectrum disorder and their future, subscribe to this channel right now. Like this video. Share it with educators, parents, and school leaders. Leave a comment telling me, what does inclusion mean to you? Together we can spread awareness. Together we can build understanding. Together we can create schools where every child truly belongs. Thank you for being here. Collaboration with families is also essential. Parents often hold valuable insights about their child's strengths, triggers, and coping strategies. When schools listen and work alongside families, they build a partnership that strengthens inclusion. Without this communication, support systems can become fragmented. Being prepared for inclusion means anticipating challenges rather than reacting to crises. It means creating systems that support flexibility, emotional regulation, and individualized learning. It requires leadership commitment and a willingness to adapt. Traditional teaching methods. Inclusion is not a checkbox. It is not a slogan. It is a responsibility. When schools move beyond good intentions and invest in preparation, inclusion transforms from theory into lived reality. Students feel safe, teachers feel confident, families feel supported, and classrooms become spaces where differences are not merely tolerated, but valued. So yes, most schools say they support inclusion, but true inclusion demands more than words. It demands readiness, compassion, structure, and action. The real question is not whether schools believe in inclusion. The real question is whether they are prepared to make it work.